Alright, so once you have done the lineup, the next thing that you want to do is to lock your camera. Okay, you do not want to have the camera move around once you have the position and also the focal length fixed. So we want to select the camera, and then you want to lock its translation and rotation position. So to do that, you just need to select all the values under translate, XYZ, rotate XYZ, right mouse click on it, and then choose the option lock selected. So once you have done that, right, you will not be able to move the camera. Okay, that is one option. Another option, right, would be actually to use this symbol over here, the lock over the camera. So if you click on the lock on the camera, right, you will not be able to manipulate or move the camera. So we can leave the camera still, okay, without moving it accidentally. All right. Same thing for this image plane that we brought in. I also want to lock it. I do not want to accidentally move it around or scale it. So I'm going to select all these values, right mouse click, and lock it so that I will not move it. So now we are now ready to start to model. Now I want to set up the scene so that I can see two views. One is the perspective view and one is the camera view. So for my camera view, I'm going to change it to this camera view, and then this one will be my perspective view. Okay, so the first thing, of course, I want to create are the walls around the area here, or you can start to create the floor. I think the easiest to create will be the floor. So shift right mouse click, I'll create a plane, and naturally I always want to use the smallest value for subdivisions, and then I'm going to increase the size of the floor. All right. So I'm going to increase it to the point until you can visually see that it is touching the edge of the room. Okay. Now, if you want to see through, of course, you can use X-ray view to see through this. So now I can see through this, and also you can see the backdrop is also much clearer. And next thing I want to do is I want to insert one edge loop around here. Use the multi-cut tool, hold on to Control, and then insert one edge loop maybe around here. Then press Q to select. Then you can select the edge here. Click on this edge, and then press Ctrl E, and then extrude it out to form the floor here. Now, of course, if you want to create the walls, right, by just selecting the edge and extruding it out, that is also possible, right? For example, this edge is now selected. Then I'll press Ctrl E, then press W, and then pull out to form the wall. Okay, now I notice that my orientation, right, through this camera view is slightly off. So I have to unlock my camera. Right, I have to select my camera and then make sure that the translation values are turned off. Okay, it's already unlocked, so I will try to rotate this view down a little bit. And I'll turn on my wireframe, Alt 5. And yeah, the floor needs to be rotated until it matches the corners. Okay, so right now the camera, let me see the focal length. Let me select the camera. I'm going to check the focal length. This is correct. 21.54, because this is the value that I got when I was playing with the F-spy, but it seems that right now the focal length could be slightly off, or my orientation is wrong. Yeah, another thing is it could be the distance also. So right now I'm pulling the camera back a little bit, and I'm checking the perspective to see whether it matches or not. Yeah, this one is not matching at all. It could be the focal length could be wrong, or my lineup could be wrong. Okay, right now I'm trying to get my best to match line as possible. Okay, it seems that my focal length could be off, so I'm going to manually adjust the focal length. I think it's much wider. Yeah, it could be a 16mm instead. Yeah. So the F-spy did not give me a good value, so it could be even wider. I think it's a 16mm focal length. And you can see now the walls are matching much better. Yeah, so sometimes the F-spy works, and in this case, right, it didn't give me a very good value. So I manually enter, I just took a guess to see how much the focal length is, and I think this one matches much better. Okay, I need to turn this around slightly more. Okay, I want to make sure that the grid lines, right, the floor line panels are matching with this. So you hold down the Alt and middle mouse click to pan, Alt left mouse click, and then to rotate the camera point of view. Alright, so I will not be able to get it to match perfectly, so this is just a rough guide. So once this is done, I'm going to relock my camera by clicking on the lock symbol. So right now the camera will not move. Okay, the focal length is still being adjusted. Okay, I'm not going to touch this anymore. I'm going to lock this value as well. So right now I will not adjust this value anymore. Okay, I think this is good enough. Now, I'm going to select these edges. Okay, Control E, press W, and then move it up until it forms the wall section here. I want to keep my modeling simple, so I want to join these two vertices over here. Select these two vertices and then merge the vertices. Okay, and then coming over to perspective view, select all these entire edges on top here, right? And then extrude out another section. So Control E, press W to move. Just let it extrude up like that. Okay, right now I'm reaching the ceiling already. Now I have this extra face over here which I can extrude, right? Holding down the shift and then extrude outwards like that. Alright. This portion here, I will delete this. Alright. So over here, I can form the ceiling by selecting these two edges. Right. And holding down the shift and then extrude to form the ceiling. So select these two vertices here and then merge it. Alright. So I'm going to switch over to the front view. And I want to make sure that all the vertices on the top are lined up. So I'm going to use the scale tool to flatten them. Okay. Back to my perspective view again. I'm going to grab these vertices and edges, maybe these group of vertices, press W to move, and then pull it out. So now I can see the entire view is being covered. Alright, we got the walls, we got the back portion, the ceiling, everything is done. Alright, like what I mentioned before, it is a good idea to try to identify and label all the things that you want to model. For example, in this case, we have this protrusion over here for the TV console. Right, we got a TV over here, we got a clock, we got what looks like a toaster oven, we got a kitchen sink, an oven, okay, an assortment of shells over here that should be protruding out slightly. Alright, so yeah, go and list out all the items that you will be modeling, and it seems that there's another extra sofa here, but I think this one you can keep it optional. So we've got several items here. So next thing I want to do is to block out the items. You use simple shapes, right, to block out the items, and then it will make it a little bit easier for you all to figure out what you need to actually model. So I'll start off by blocking out the console. The console is just a simple box shape. So I'm going to create a cube. I'm going to rename this cube console so I know what it is. So what is the console? The console is basically this shape that is protruding from the wall. So I'm going to put this until it is sticking on the wall. Right, and then I'm going to scale it up. Okay, until it matches the size, roughly matches the size of my reference. So this one is actually quite close to the edge like that. And then use the scale, scale it up, then scale it forwards a bit more, and pull this out slightly. Okay, so now I got a console. So I'm gonna hold on the shift and then duplicate. So this one will be my TV. So I'm gonna rename this, I call this a TV. Okay, and then I want to make sure that this one is against the wall. So push it against the wall. Then use scale it in vertically like that. Okay, we got a clock over here. You can put a cylinder there to match the clock. Now I want to create a shelf system here. So I'm going to borrow the console again. I'm going to duplicate this, rotate it 90 degrees, holding down the J, snap rotate it 90 degrees. Then press W to move. Push it back until it is coming out against the wall like that. Now there seems to be a protrusion coming out from the wall above, so I'm going to model that. This protrusion over here. Okay, I want to change the axis of this cube a little bit because right now it is a bit difficult, right, to just extrude this out. So I'm going to put the pivot point right at the back. So press D and then align it to the back face here. All right, and then shift right mouse click, align it to the world axis. Press D to get out again. So that now I can push this against the side like that. So it makes it easier for me to change the scaling. Okay, now I put it against the wall. All right, and yeah, so now I can see I can scale this to check how thick the protrusion should be, and it is actually not very, doesn't protrude out that much. Well, actually, that means this wall actually have to go in some more, right? So now from the looks of it, right, this wall here needs to go in a little bit more. So I'm going to press W with these two faces, and then I'm going to push it in some more until it reaches the edge over here, which is correct because this one goes in a little bit deeper, and we have all this shelving that's coming out a bit. So yeah, then this makes more sense. So this one, right, should be coming out right about here. I'm actually using the reference. I'm going to scale this outwards a little bit and then push it back in again until it lines up right about here. Then this protrusion, right, is much longer, and we're going to pull it out until it sticks about here. Okay, so now if you look over here, we can see that there's a protrusion, there's a space here so that we can build our shelving and also the backsplash for the kitchen cabinet area. All right, so I'm going to duplicate another piece. Actually, now that I think of it, I want to maybe select this entire piece here, push it back all the way until it touches the wall, then using my scale tool, scale it up until it lines up with the protrusion on the reference here. Yeah, this makes better sense. Now, for the shelving, this one I just call it protrusion. Then we're going to clone this, and we're going to push this, scale this back a little bit. This will be the cabinet. So use scale, pull it back until it reaches the cabinet line over here. You see that? Then I will scale it upwards. Then move it down until it's about the same depth of the cabinets. So this one will be the cabinets. Then of course later we can cut this up and then make it into the shelf. Now for the bottom part here, this is the kitchen cabinets. So I'm going to duplicate this one again and bring it down until it reaches the floor level. And then of course the kitchen cabinet, this one should be protruding out some more. So select the face, then pull it out until it reaches, based on the reference here, this level. Alright, so this one will be the bottom cabinets. Okay, then next we have these suspended lighting and all that. Okay, but for the sofa and all that, right, we can build it and then bring it in separately, or you can, which I think is much better. For things like the sofa, okay, for this circular table here, this one can be blocked in using a cylinder. option, nothing is selected. I'm going to use a low resolution cylinder. Twelve-sided cylinder should be enough. Then again, using the reference to roughly position to where it is supposed to be, then scale it up. Then we're going to block out a simple table from this shape here. Insert one edge loop here, insert one edge loop at the bottom. Select the face loop, then extrude it out. Okay, and then just pull it out to form the table. Same thing for the bottom. Control E, and then pull out the base, then scale it down. Okay, you can see that our table is really hitting the floor, so I'm going to move this up slightly and position it until it matches the reference. So we got a standing table, round table, and right now you just create objects to block out the items first. Then gradually, right, once you finish modeling the items, you will gradually replace them one by one. Okay, like all the track lights, all the other smaller lights, everything, you can replace it with just simple cylinders and so on. Alright, so yeah, basically that is how you slowly build up and block out your environment. Okay, so eventually everything will be much more detailed. So all these things are just blocking items first. You use basic cylinders, basic boxes, spheres, okay, just to roughly block out the position of the items. Then later when you build the items properly in another scene, you can slowly import them in. Okay, so you can see there are quite a number of items in this picture alone. Right, there are the glass jar with a plant sticking out, a bunch of tins, okay, a nice little toaster over here, okay, some bottles containing probably soap items, a big oven over here. There's probably a flat glass panel induction cooker over here. All right, a tap system here, a clock, and so on. So all these items you have to list out, and then you have to consider how much time you will require to model them. All right, so with that, I will stop the demo, and I'll actually continue to model this myself.